No winners in cost of living either. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. It is the biggest issue facing Australians. Power prices are going up 25% despite Labor making this promise, we know it, during the campaign.
Reducing power prices by $275.
By 2025, $275 a year.
$275 a year.
We'll get power prices down by $275 a year.
Peter, on your network, the opposition leader this morning called the Prime Minister a liar. What are your thoughts?
The great showman, Anthony Albanese, he stood there in front of the country and he's conned us all by saying that there was going to be a rebate of $275. We were going to save money on power. All of a sudden, Liddell Power Station is now closed. And I've got to say, I used to work at Liddell Open Cut Coal Mine, which was right next door to Liddell.
That's right.
And Liddell's closing down. And we have a look at, I think it's 78% of our energy at the moment is coal, and they're all talking about renewable energies. Before we go on to that, let's talk about the cost of living here in Australia and the promises that this government made, particularly this $275. The sooner Anthony Albanese comes out and apologises for people and says, yes, I have lied to you. He essentially has lied to us all. Like Peter Dutton said this morning, I agree with the opposition leader. He has lied to us. But we have been told that we were going to save money. And now all of a sudden, in an energy-rich country as Australia, with all with everything that we have, we're paying more on power than most places in the world. It is ridiculous. But I think Anthony Albanese, he owes the people of Australia an apology. He needs to come out and say, look, I did at the election, you did vote for me, and I've lied to you. And I think the sooner he comes out and says that, people might be able to live with it. I mean, the cost of living is ridiculous. The tents are back up here in Brisbane. There's people living on Mount Cootha. The Musgrave Park are back after the Panieri Festival on the weekend. It is tough. And all of a sudden, now we're being told we're going to be paying more for energy when we voted somebody in on the premise that they were going to make it cheaper for us.
Yeah, Melissa, this isn't political point scoring. This is the reality of a lot of Australians. And I spoke earlier about this new working homeless crisis. People who are working full-time jobs still can't afford to pay their rent.
That's right. I mean, there was a woman yesterday who actually has a full-time job and she lives in a tent in a park. But with, electricity prices, when I just opened my account just yesterday, there is not a negative $275 at all. No. I mean, between gas, electricity, petrol, rent, everything, bang, 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 food, everything is just getting crazy. And we can go on and on and on about it, but what is going to be done about it? We look at where our politicians are, and we're not actually getting a response. We're not getting okay, this is going to happen. And I think, as Pete said, we were promised that this $275 would come off our electricity bills. It certainly wasn't on my bill.
No, and given, when people vote in an election, it's stuff like that gets them over the line, particularly people doing it really hard.
And that was such a big thing. I think that,
huge.
Because people's accounts were so ridiculously big. And so we also probably went, okay, we'll give him a go. But, at least get out and say something. Actually,
acknowledge.
Do a press conference and actually say, you know what, we haven't been able to do it because...
Yeah, Melissa, do you think that Jim Chalmers is actually on board with Anthony Albanese? He seems to get the hospital pass every time this is brought up. It seems that it lands on his lap. I mean, honestly...
Are you saying there's some infighting going on, Peter Fegan?
I think those two...
Look...
I don't think that. I actually don't think there's that much love lost. I think that relationship. I don't know. I don't think Jim will be at the New Year's Eve party this year
at Albo's place. Okay, I want to talk to you guys. We can't do a segment without mentioning Harry and Meghan. Okay, King Charles, former butler, says, now this makes me feel like a ridiculous journalist. King Charles, former butler, says it's very possible the couple will eventually move back to the UK. I can't believe this is even... It's very possible they might.
Well, I mean, we could say that. We could say it's actually very possible I'll be a princess one day.
It's very possible they might separate. It's also very possible they might fall over. It's also...
It will not happen. And if it does,
I tell you what... I tell you what's not possible, me caring about Harry and Meghan ever. Look, they have taken up so much of the world's oxygen. Seriously, you know, they want their privacy. Let them have it. Why don't they just go away? Why don't we just stop talking about them? I mean, I know that we have to because it's so newsworthy, but, you know, one day...
Sorry, Pete. No, but I mean, the media, you know, we keep talking about it.
No, but can I tell you, I spoke about them in my opening editorial last week.
Yep.
That's up to nearly 500,000 views online, just literally 3 minutes on Meghan and Harry. People lap this up. It is ridiculous. There's an insatiable appetite.
That's right, and I still have friends who
when I filled in for Neil Breen, when I filled in for Neil Breen last time up here on 4BC, I mentioned it, and the text line, as you can imagine, Erin, went ballistic because people like to talk about it, and it's great radio. But I mean, I find it so difficult. I really do. Sorry, Melissa. You go.
No, not at all. No, but we still do, and this is the catch-22, isn't it? Even I have friends who are like, text me, you know, a link on a particular story about them, and I'll still read it.
I know. We are all as pathetic as each other. God bless. Okay, Peter Fegan, Melissa Hoyer, thank you so much. Brilliant as always.